Hey plant nerds, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is the last video of 2019, so if you are catching this in real time, I want to wish you all a very happy new year. And if you're catching this in the future, I hope your new year has gone well. And today's drink of choice is this Desert Durham whiskey by Arizona Distilling Company. This is the first Arizona grain to bottle whiskey, and it is made here locally in Tempe. And I was gifted this by a really good friend here in town. So thank you for this. And that is what we're drinking today. We'll do a little ASMR with the bottle. Cheers. I kind of wanted to wrap up 2019 with a bunch of superlatives and make it kind of a planty style superlative video. The definition of a superlative is a hyperbolic statement or something of comparison. You see these in yearbooks like most likely to succeed, which is a crappy superlative to put in a yearbook. Usually it is most likely to or best blank. So I have come up with some superlatives for my plants with the help of a few friends and also myself and this own brain organ here. We are going to kick off today's superlative video with 2019's most improved plant. And this award goes to my Philodendron white wizard that I ordered from Thailand. If you've been following my channel for a while and or my Instagram, you will know that this plant kind of has been on the struggle bus since day one. However, it has fully turned around and is producing the most beautifully variegated leaves. Honestly, I'm just so in love with this plant. You can see right here, there is a leaf that is like a little nubbin. And then right here is another nub. Both of these leaves were damaged because I was too impatient in letting them unravel and unfurl and present themselves to the world, and I was trying to help. But in doing so, I ruined both of those leaves. And since this mishap right here, I have not touched any of the leaves developing on this plant, although it is very difficult sometimes. This plant is just so gorgeous, and the variegation on this plant, I hope it shows, but it is just so white and stunning. This is definitely my most improved plant. It was in rough shape. It has since bounced back and is thriving here in Arizona. Our next superlative of 2019 is best dressed, and that one goes to this beautiful, wonderful, stunning Thai constellation Monstera. This was another plant from my New Life Tropicals order that was also a little bit on the struggle bus. Monstera in general are pretty hardy plants, so they can take a lot of abuse and still spring back to life. This thing has just kept growing and growing, so I'm really happy again that this plant has bounced back from being on the struggle bus and that I have this in my collection because this one is always a stunner. Next up on the superlative list is least fussy, and that goes to my ZZ Raven, which is also another plant that arrived to me from Thailand that was struggling. So I guess you could say these last three plants were all most improved because they are all healthy and happy now, but it was a journey. ZZ plants are known to be plants of steel. They don't need a lot of care, they don't need a lot of water, they don't need a lot of attention, and they continue to thrive. And the ZZ Raven is no exception to that. You can see here this beautiful new stem that grew that starts off this beautiful neon green and then will eventually turn to black. You can kind of see it already starting. Another stunner of a plant. I love this one. Next up on our awards list is most likely to drive a minivan. And that award goes to my Peperomia Bactria. Reasoning being is this baby is shooting off little babies left and right. You can see down here that there's so many babies that have sprouted out the bottom of this plant. I'm very happy that this plant has become so healthy. When I first saw this plant, I thought it was a Monstera deliciosa. The leaves almost have that juvenile Monstera shape. I took a second look and saw that it was actually a Peperomia polybatria, and I was very excited to have this one. And I love this plant so much, but it's time for a minivan. And next up is my plant that is most likely to be a spy. And that award goes to my Russian Hoya, this Hoya obovata variegata splash. This plant is so beautiful, and I'm so happy that I found this seller and was able to buy this plant, because I swoon over this plant every single time I see it, and it has grown so well. If you remember the unboxing video I did with my Russian Hoyas, it really only had these 2 leaves, and it has since grown all of this growth, and it continues to grow well, especially in the lekha passive hydro environment. I am so happy that I have this plant in my collection, but it most definitely is a Russian spy. Our next award goes to the lekha lover, and that goes to this beautiful Alocasia Ivory Coast. And I don't even know how I'm gonna fit into the frame. I have not had a lot of success with Alocasias. They're a plant that I love, but also I struggle with constantly. This leaf right here, this giant one that's the size of my head, this one is the newest leaf since it was in lekha or passive hydro. This one is loving life in lekha, and I'm so happy it is, because it is a beautiful alocasia, and it gives me hope that maybe I can actually keep an alocasia alive and or happy. Our next award goes to our social climber of the group, my Hoya obovata splash, which I cannot fit into the frame because it is on this giant trellis. This plant has grown incredibly well, although we do kind of have like these bald spots. So I put it on this large trellis, and as you can see here, it is just shooting off vines like crazy. And I'm giving this the social climber award because it's climbing and then also reaching for other plants and subsequently climbing on them, giving them what I refer to as a great big Hoya hug. Even looking at some of the leaves here, the size of some of these leaves, they're just huge. This plant is just so stunning, and I'm really happy that it has grown so well, and I love that it's on this trellis. So congratulations to 2019's Social Climber. The next award I want to present is the Trailblazer Award, and that goes to my giant, beautiful Hoya Cardosa splash, which is located right here. I'm gonna try to get it out. It might be a little bit difficult. Okay, so this plant right here, oh boy. I have this double trellised. It is gigantic, it is beefy, it is beautiful, but this was the first Hoya that I was actually gifted by my stepmom and my sister. So this plant is receiving the Trailblazer Award because had it not been for this plant, I don't know if I would have gotten into Hoyas as quick as I did, but as soon as I had this in my care, I kind of fell in love with Hoyas. This plant means a lot to me because it did come from family, and also this is the plant that I use to rack my focus. Since you don't really see the behind the scenes stuff, I don't usually shoot with autofocus because I don't love hearing the this lens has a loud autofocus. What I do is I usually place this plant where I want to stand and or sit, and then go behind the camera, focus on a part of this plant, and then I move the plant and sit in that spot, and that is how my videos are focused for the most part. So this plant serves a purpose as far as love and necessity, and I owe a lot of gratitude to this big, beefy Cardosa. And continuing with our Hoya awards, I'm going to dole out the MVP, which stands for Most Visible Peduncles. And that goes to the Hoya Bella, which is a prolific blooming plant. You can see right here, I have a beautiful Bella bloom, and these smell, seriously, they smell so good. Like fresh sheets. I honestly can't get enough of how good this smells. While this Bella does have a lot of visible peduncles, I have only had this one actually flower for me. A lot of the peduncles tend to kind of turn yellow and fall off, so this plant also could probably receive the most fussy award. In any case, I am so happy that it did actually bloom at least one peduncle for me, and some of these other ones are actually getting pretty large. This bloom has actually opened up and stayed around for about a week, which I was surprised by. I honestly smell that flower every single day I walk by this plant. The next award I'm giving out is my most surprising plant, and that one is going to go to my Burley Marks Fantasy Philodendron. And I am most surprised by this plant that it is growing so well, and also that I own it. This is my unicorn plant. This is a very hard to find plant, and I cannot believe I have this large of one that is doing this well. There's a newest leaf kind of unfurling. I'm not gonna touch it because I don't want to break it off. I've had a lot of luck with this philodendron, and I am so blessed to have this, and I make sure to tell him every single day how handsome he is. You're so handsome. The next award goes to the biggest creeper of the year, and that is my Monstera siltepecana. She's a creep. This plant has done so well in its conversion to passive hydroponics, and you can clearly see how well it's grown up on this trellis. I just freaking love this plant. To me, it looks like a cross between a Cebu Blue, a Peperomia, and the Monstera Spa Peru. It has this beautiful like silvery bluish shimmer to the leaves, but also this like reptilian texture that is just gorgeous. So last but most definitely not least, the award for most popular is going to my Dissidia Avada, or my watermelon Dissidia. This beautiful, beautiful plant I randomly stumbled upon at Molehole's Nursery in Omaha, Nebraska when I was back home visiting. I am so happy that I grabbed this plant. It has clearly been happy with me. It's produced, you can see a bloom there, one there, another one's coming out right here. But ever since I put this on this trellis, it has just continued to thrive. Dissidia to me are a very cool plant because they've developed this symbiotic relationship in the wild, in nature, with certain ant colonies, tree ant colonies. Not so much this variety of the Dissidia, but there are other varieties, shingling varieties of Dissidia that actually have like a cup shape that kind of cup onto a tree, etc. They are creating a little shelter for ants to live or create their little space. Since Dissidia are epiphytic plants and they're not used to being grown in like a potting medium in a soil, the ants actually supply the Dissidia in the wild with nutrients either from their excrement or food that they bring into their colony. I just find it fascinating when nature works together, different species helping each other out. So that is why I am giving my most popular award for 2019 to this beautiful Dissidia Avada. All right, my friends, that is it. That is all of the plants that I wanted to talk about in my superlatives video. And now is the part of the video where I'm gonna get a little bit sappy. So if you aren't tapped into your emotions and or don't want to feel emotions, then you can just stop right here. I am super grateful for the plant community and the community that I have here on YouTube and I have on Instagram. It has honestly been something that has been such a welcomed and needed distraction. And I don't mean distraction in a bad way. I kind of mean a distraction in that like it pulled me out of being self-pitying and wallowing, and it gave me a purpose and it gave me something to focus on, and I will forever be grateful for that. I love making videos. And I really hope that you guys enjoy them. But if you don't, or if someone doesn't, it's not going to destroy me, because this is what I find a lot of joy in doing, is creating these videos, is setting up this budget-friendly lighting to get this film cinematic effect. Like, these things are the things that I love to do. But this year and this decade has been one of the most formative of my life. It has been the hardest. It has also been one of joy, of finding myself, of receiving clarity, but it's painful. It's, I think, growing as a human and growing into yourself sometimes is painful, and you grieve the loss of friendships, of relationships, and it's something I'm still battling with now. But I think in the end, we all know that, like, even though these times are difficult and they're hard, you still have hope, and I still have hope. But this year I was going through probably one of the hardest weekends of my entire life. I was making a big change and I was scared, and I got a message from a fellow plant tuber who was kind of going through the same exact thing, and it was like this. It was like the universe was saying, like, you're going to be okay. Like, I know it sounds super cheesy, but we were both kind of going through this huge change at the same time. And although the circumstances were different, it was comforting to have somebody who understood. So to that person, thank you, because that message came at just the right time. I honestly do want to thank all of you who watch my videos, who comment, who even give me a thumbs down, because you make me work harder for that next thumbs up. It's been a joy, and I'm so excited to see what 2020 has in store for me, for us, for the plant community, for YouTube, for creators, and friendships developing. I'm so excited to meet new friends and collaborate with other creators and do all of the things that just expand community and connect all of us together. So I hope that you guys are all excited for 2020. I think it's going to be a great year, the start of another brand new decade. And I wish all of you the happiest of New Year's. I hope that you feel excitement coming into this new decade, that you feel hope, that you see experiences that are yet to be lived and dreams yet to be fulfilled, and all of those bring you nothing but joy. So Happy New Year, my friends, and as always, I appreciate you hanging out with me. Thanks for watching. I personally have misophonia, which is this form of anger brought on by certain noises, and mine manifest in the area of mouth noises. I don't know, ASMR has a lot of mouth noises, so I will like the ASMR videos, but I don't like the ones where there's talking or eating, because but I know I'm not alone in my misophonia. I get so angry if I hear somebody chewing on their food loudly, like to a ridiculous degree, and I know it's my issue to deal with. It is solely the reason why I avoid any Mexican restaurants with the free tortilla chips, because you always have a chomper in the group. Always a chomper.